I'd like to call to order our Monday, February 10th, 2025 school board discussion meeting. We'll begin with our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody here this evening to our meeting. As always, our mission is to educate, empower, and inspire excellence. We do have registration for any of the actionable items on the agenda this evening. If anyone would like to address the board on those items, there are forms over here near Attorney Elwood. Please fill out the form, return it to the board table, and we'll be happy to bring you up at that appropriate time. We also have public comment at the conclusion of our meeting for any topic anyone would like to bring up to the board. And again, we do the same process, just fill out the simple form, send it over here to Attorney Elwood, and we would be happy to recognize you at the conclusion of the meeting. All school board members were provided background information to the various items on the agenda prior to this meeting, and our meeting is being live streamed, and we'd like to welcome all those who are tuning in remotely or watching us at another time. So again, welcome all of those. So we'll begin with our student staff presentation, as we call it, and we have our new Executive Director of the Portage Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Portage Chamber of Commerce, Jerry Zarnicki. So Jerry, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I didn't realize I was on staff. I'm turning my time. For that. Well, thank you first off for being willing to continue with your membership with the Chamber. For those of you that don't know, I've met many of you on the board. I'm Jerry Zarnicki. I started in the beginning of January as the Chamber Executive Director. Been with the Chamber since August. Prior to that, worked with a number of nonprofits in the area. Then prior to that, I was a 30-year educator in the state of Michigan. So sitting here at the board meeting is like home for me.
Is that good memories or bad?
Always good.
Okay.
Always good. Always good. So what I was asked to come and kind of talk about after you guys approved to stay with the Chamber, some of the things that the Chamber membership brings with it. And I also want to talk about a couple of the initiatives that the Chamber is working on with the schools, just so that you can see where your membership is going. So first off, we have brought onto our board, Melissa Devers is at ex officio voice no vote for our chamber. So every chamber meeting we get feedback from Melissa of what's going on in the schools and how can the chamber help the schools. So she's at our monthly meetings going along. We've also invited a representative from the city and a representative from the township. They come to those meetings as well. Again, in the same capacity. They're not a voting member, so really what happens is anytime Melissa can't make it, anybody from the schools can come in and give that report. And that's why we want to do it. We want to keep those touch points as we go through. Because you're members, the other thing that you can do is anytime you guys are starting initiatives, you've got information you want to get out to the community, we are now an entrance point to the community. We'll put out flyers, we'll add you to our newsletter. Anytime something goes on Facebook that comes from school initiatives, we put out the community survey when that came out, trying to use our marketing avenues to help promote the schools as we're going along. And you're invited, anybody, school board members, staff members, whatever, whenever we have one of our networking events that we have, please come. Please, just to introduce yourself, get connected. I'm a firm believer, as a former educator, community is huge for the schools. So one of the things that I reached out to Dr. Allen is shortly after I landed, I wasn't in my spot yet. And I noticed that Portage Township Schools had started their No Place for Hate initiative. And I read a poster that was on there that it said, Portage Township Schools, students, staff, and community agree to these 5 characteristics. And so I asked Dr. Allen, who's the community? And she said, that's the next step that we're coming. So I asked if it was okay if the chamber become the entry for that. And so one of the things that, and I think she mentioned to you at a previous board meeting, so one of those things that we're going to do is we're going to help to get the word out there. So what I've brought is, we've had a generous, anonymous donor, just want to give you examples of what's here, who has agreed to put 500 of these together create 500 of these for us, so that each one of, let's see if I got one more on my spot here. Not there on this memo. So that each one of the businesses, community organizations, what we're gonna ask them to do is we're gonna ask them to fill out some kind of commitment form. You're gonna see this starting to roll out, you're probably the end of February. With me just landing in the position, I kind of joked, many of you may know Nancy Simpson, the previous director. I said, well, when I was on the other side of the curtain, my job looked easy. Brought me in August, let me shadow you, boy, this looks easy. I stepped off the deep end on January 1st. So, swimming my way back up. But we'll see this come out probably at the end of February, beginning of March, where I'll be sending stuff out. You do not have to be a chamber member to participate in this. This is not a member-specific event, entity. We're trying to get this out to as many as possible. But then what they'll do is they'll commit to the 5 things that are listed on there for the No Place for Hate. As the schools are supporting which one, whatever month it is, we're gonna try to put stuff out too, to the community, focusing on respect, responsibility, whatever it is that you guys are focusing on. And then, what the hopes are is when a business signs on, we provide them with these 2 things. They got a sticker that goes on the door when they come in, they got a poster they can put somewhere in their business. 2 reasons for doing this. 1, shows our students that the community is supporting them in this endeavor. And 2, it also allows the students to realize, oh, when I'm walking into this business, they understand what the school is teaching me on how I'm supposed to be presenting myself and representing Portage Township Schools with that. So that's one of the initiatives that we've started. I'm meeting this week with school advisors from the 2 middle schools to talk about the,
Reality Store.
Reality Store, yep, the Reality Store. And to work on how do we build that back up so that we can get that moving forward. So that's another thing that we're working on together. And then Andy and Dr. Alanez and the mayor and myself are working on the support for some of our current and recent graduates getting into the workforce. So we're trying to build and be a big player with the schools, because again, what I'm trying to get the chamber members to realize is, all I hear from them is, we need more employees, we need better employees, we need that kind of stuff. Well, they're gonna come from your community, and the way you make that better is you invest back into your community. So that's what I'm hoping is gonna kind of be one of the messages that comes out of the chamber with my new position. So, any questions you guys have about the chamber? What we can do, what we can't do, maybe what I'm missing?
But Jerry, we're really happy to have you on board with the chamber, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know you in the last few months, and your energy is contagious, and the chamber's an important part of every community.
It is.
Just as the schools are. So I love the fact that you guys have found ways to collaborate for the schools and chamber.
You know, and the thing for us, the only thing that we ask is, we have little stickers, or little door things like that, No Place for Hate, that tells who's our chamber members. We have to try to support them. If you see a business that's not a chamber member, reach out to me so I can go out and connect with them. We're growing, we got a goal to grow. January, we had 16 new members. You know, we had 5 new members in February. Now, these aren't new businesses, they're people, some of them are people who used to be chamber members that are now kind of coming back, or they're people who said, I just never joined the chamber, never knew what it was about. And again, with my education background, my biggest thing is to get out, educate people about what the chamber can do, and then let them make an educated decision on whether they join or not. You know, I want to get away from the people who are just doing it because that's what you do. I want to see if there's a purpose behind it and there's value.
Great. Do you have any questions, comments?
I would, and you probably have already thought about this, but
Probably
take
not.
this, no. Take this over to the YMCA.
Yep.
Because a lot of our students
Yep.
go to the Y.
Yeah, so what we'll do is, and again, it's going to be one of those things that the YMCA is one of our members.
Boys and Girls Club?
What's that? Boys and Girls Club are one of our members. And so again, we'll send it out, and we are gonna ask the organization, the business, to go through the step of committing somehow to those things that are there, whether it's a Google form that we have or something, and then we can blast that out to a whole bunch of different places, and then when we get the responses back, I can go out and then meet with those businesses that are committing to do this.
I think it's important to mention, as Jerry was stating, you know, our students knowing that there's a common language it connects the schools to the community. And what we know is every community struggles with how students act out in public when not under the direct presence of, an educator or a parent or guardian. And so having a common language for us to refer to is a really helpful piece. And as Jerry said, helping build that positive connection between the businesses and the school community is going to be a significant opportunity for our kids. So just really quickly, if you don't mind, I'd like to read, because for those who are online, the board always is the first to sign the pledge, and we already did that. We will get trustee Ramian to sign his pledge now that I think about that. So PTS students, staff, and community members practice and model responsibility. If I see someone being hurt or bullied, I will tell a teacher or trusted adult. Fairness, I promise to treat everyone the way I want to be treated. Honesty, I can be trusted to be kind to everyone and foster a welcoming school environment. Respect, I will create a place where others feel safe and happy, striving to understand those who are different from myself. Compassion, I will create a safe and welcoming school where there is no place for hate. So, again, I think that this is language that anyone can understand in some way, shape, or form, have experienced negative interactions, and so any way that we can best foster the development of being positive and being kind by simply saying this isn't a place for hate, this isn't a community for hate. We don't tolerate those things here. I think it's a good thing for our kids to know that that's an established partnership. So I can't thank Jerry enough. This was our first meeting before, like he said, before the end of 2024, and then here we are, already with the printed opportunity. So it's just really, really appreciated.
Any other questions or comments?
I really didn't realize that the chamber had started many, many years ago. When I did a little bit of research, I found out that the first one was established in France in 1599. And then in the United States it was in the year of 1912.
Yep, and I believe our chamber was back to the 1950s.
Crazy.
Great. Anyone else have any other comments?
If you want to know the history of our chamber, go to our website, go to our quarterly magazine. The very first magazine was on the history of the chamber. You can go back and read that. Is your other business?
Jerry, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here today. Thank
Yep.
you for doing this in partnership. Look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our agenda. Are there any adjustments to the agenda from the board? Okay, if not, we'll go to the superintendent's consent agenda. We've got the approval of the personnel report from February the 10th, the donation report, facility use request report. Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
just like to say that the amount of $10,351 was donated by different individuals and businesses. So thank you for them.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Can you call roll, please?
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez?
Yes.
Trustee Maleta?
Yes.
Trustee Wilkie, yes. Trustee Ramian?
Yes.
Now we have our board's consent agenda, which has the minutes of our January 27th executive session, the minutes of our January 27th regular meeting, and the minutes of our January 27th Board of Finance meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the board's consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the board consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, call roll, please.
Trustee Vasquez?
Yes.
Trustee Maleta?
Yes.
Trustee Wilkie, yes. Trustee Ramian?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Okay. Now we have our board reports. Anybody have a board report today? Go ahead.
The redevelopment commission had a special meeting, and it was last Monday the 3rd. Some of the items on the agenda included the 2025 budget. There was an ending balance in 2024 of $413,000 and a beginning balance of $7 million. Also, during this special meeting, we discussed a request from the police and fire departments for items such as an animal control van, computers for vehicles, and a fire engine. This commission will be working on capital projects for this year, And they have a list, we have a list that has already been reviewed, compiled, and has been categorized as high, moderate, and low priorities. I'm just gonna mention some of the projects. Comprehensive plan and redevelopment strategy for the city, a downtown baseball field relocation project, the community crossing grant pledge, allocation for area resurfacing projects, and downtown street repair and replacement, just to name a few. Additional detailed information regarding the meeting and all of the meetings have been recorded and can be viewed if you go to the site. And the site is City of Portage Redevelopment Commission meeting, and you have to include the date that you would like to view. We also are going to be having our first work session of this year. It will be on March the 30th, and we will be reviewing and discussing the tax abatements. And a reminder to our superintendent and the administrative team that the education grant proposal is due by April the 15th. And if we are awarded this grant by the redevelopment commission, our Portage Township students will benefit tremendously. The next regular RDC meeting will be on Thursday, the 27th of February at 4:30 City Hall. And the public is invited to attend, and it's also live streamed. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other board reports?
The Portage Township Education Foundation has been meeting weekly for the last 4 weeks with their big fundraiser event coming up next, I believe Thursday on February 20th, where the Harlem Wizards will be in town to play an all-star cast of Portage staff at the high school gymnasium. So a big push is on now to buy tickets online. I know the team, the Wizards, will be in town a day or two prior to and visit schools at lunch hours and kind of encourage kids and get them excited about coming to the event. So there's that committee's about 15 to 20 people that volunteer and have done a good job, getting sponsorship and getting everything organized for a good event. And then they also, Melissa Devers, I believe, opened up and sent an email to all staff that the grants are now able to be applied online for any of our teaching staff or any of our staff, I believe PTS staff, and through March 21st for grants for their classrooms or their programs or anything else that they might aspire to do.
Okay, thank you.
The policy committee met on Wednesday. We reviewed 37 policies. Some of those policies included cash management of grants, graduation requirements, conflict of interest, and emergency preparedness drills and plans. Those policies will be on the agenda at our next meeting for our first reading.
Good, thank you. That it? Any other reports? Great, thank you. Good start. Okay, we'll move on to old business. We've got the approval to award bid for the baseball, softball field improvements. Dr. Alvarez.
On January 27th, the project was publicly opened, and those bids were read aloud at 2:00 p.m. at the school district's administration office. A copy of the bid tabulation is enclosed for your reference. These have been reviewed. I specifically want to point out with Attorney Elwood specifically at reviewing these. All submitted bids have been discussed, the contents of the base bid with the 2 lowest responsive and responsible bidders at the pre-award meeting, which was held January 29th. Copy of each pre-award meeting notes is enclosed for your reference. We also reviewed the turf options present within base bids number 1, 2, and 4. No bids were received for base bid number 3. Based on this information, it is Fanning Howie's opinion that it is in Portage Township Schools' best interest to award the contract as follows. Base bid 1, all work with synthetic grass surfacing by Sprint Turf in the amount of $2,983,127. And this would be with the contractor Austrian Equipment, Inc.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the bids for the baseball and softball field improvements?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion second. Any discussion or questions?
How long will these improvements take? Is there a timeline, hard to say?
For the actual install.
mhm.
So that won't start until after the weather breaks, and quite honestly, after their season concludes, the baseball spring season. So we will get that started, especially the earthwork in that, as soon as the season concludes. So very early summer. Now, there's lead time on the turf and those things, but again, we wouldn't be ready to just install that right away anyway.
Thank you.
And Ken, have these been reviewed to comply with our responsible bidding policy?
Excuse me, absolutely. Yes, they are compliant. They're also cooperative bids, which means they're like buying buses, the state bids them. And then I also check that to make sure they complied with Indiana's cooperative purchasing laws.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Is it just new turf, or are they doing fencing, scoreboards, or is it just the grass?
So at this point in time, it will be new fencing and additionally, just the turf for the 2 varsity fields, softball and baseball. The goal or the hope there is in the contingency dollars that are held for the project, should we come into difficulties during the earthwork or whatever the case may be, the hope is that we will have some of those funds remaining and we'll be able to move forward with getting our scoreboards at minimum. That's the hope. So in the event that those funds are not available and we have to use all that contingency money because of the unknowns that happen, as we all know, with construction, then we would need to figure out a plan for scoreboards, but fencing is included. Yeah.
And then just to clarify, but what we're awarding today would be strictly for the turf portion of those improvements, right?
You are correct.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, call roll, please.
Trustee Maleta?
Yes.
Trustee Wilkie, yes. Trustee Ramian?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez?
Yes.
Okay, next we have our approval of overnight field trip for Portage High School for Natural Helpers, April 4th through the 6th to Three Rivers, Michigan. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the overnight field trip for natural helpers.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I don't know if everybody knows what the natural helpers are. It's a great opportunity for our kids, and, a lot of us up here, some of, I don't know, maybe have participated in it as students at Portage at one time. I know, all of my children participated in it as they were at Portage High School, and, great program. So excited to see that continues on.
And I think it's great to mention that this is a private donor who has continued to fund this after the individual's child was part of it at Portage and it had made a significant impact.
Yeah, which is, well, thank you for bringing that up, yeah, very appreciative of that. Call roll, please.
Trustee Wilkie, yes. Trustee Ramian?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez?
Yes.
Trustee Maleta?
Yes. Next, we have the approval of the overnight field trip for the Portage High School to Indianapolis, Indiana for the State VEX Robotics Championship, March 21st and 22nd, 2025, and by Portage High School for first robotics competition at Lafayette Jefferson High School on March 21st through 23rd, 2025, and by Portage High School through Council Bluffs, Iowa for the U.S. Open Robotics Championship on March 24th through the 29th, 2025, and by the Portage High School overnight for the first robotics to Center Grove on April 4th through the 6th, 2025. So a lot of field trips for our robotics teams. Get a motion to approve these overnight field trips as read.
I make a motion to approve these overnight field trips as read.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, call roll, please.
Trustee Ramian?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez?
Yes.
Trustee Maleta?
Yes.
Trustee Wilkie, yes.
Next on the agenda, we've got the approval of the employee handbook update. Dr. Alamos, can you fill us in on that, please?
Yes, so this is vacation days and how they're awarded for our 52-week employees who work a minimum of 200 days in the prior 12-month period. So the handbook currently states vacation days will be awarded on the first working day of each calendar or fiscal year, depending on the job classification. So some are awarded vacation days the first working day after January and others after July 1. So the change going into effect is simply how those are awarded so that we are consistent in how we're applying that and that it is intended not to be punitive in any way. So instead, we're prorating even after the fact so that our employees have the maximum benefit afforded to them.
Great, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the employee handbook update?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion second. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, call roll, please.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Vasquez?
Yes.
Trustee Maleta?
Yes.
Trustee Wilkie, yes. Trustee Raymond?
Yes.
Okay. And finally, we've got our superintendent report and updates. Dr. Elness.
I will keep this extremely short today.
Yeah, right.
I promise.
Just one more thing.
No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not. So this evening, we have training for the school board and superintendent relationship, which is an ongoing partnership that we take pride in gaining professional development. So Dr. Jim Halleck, a 50-year public educator, is going to be here with us this evening, and Dr. Stevens as well. So I look forward to that. Again, I appreciate that the board truly invests in professional development and the working relationship between the board and the superintendent. So Dr. Halleck, we're happy to have you. And that's it.
That's it?
That's it. That's all I'm saying. Oh,
Standing ovation.
Record breaking.
that's true.
No, thank you for that. Okay, so I don't believe I saw any public comment forms come up.
No.
So we don't have that. Just some reminders. Next week, February 18th, we do have the Indiana School Board Association's State House Day in Indianapolis that Trustee Wilkie and myself will be attending. There's a lot going on downstate, as we know, that we need to make sure our voices are heard on some of the things that are being proposed. And then our next board meeting would be on February the 24th, back here at the administration building. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So, oh. Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions, or anybody have any other comments? Hearing none, call roll, please.
Trustee Vasquez?
Yes.
Trustee Maleta?
Yes.
Trustee Wilkie, yes. Trustee Raymond?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Well, Dr. Halleck, thank you for being here, because that was the fastest meeting we've ever had. So we're anxious to get with you now. Thank you, everybody.